Starting with a carnivore diet is normal, especially if you're dealing with a binge eating disorder, if you're dealing with a sugar addiction. There are going to be times when you're going to stumble, you're going to mess up. And the important thing is, in that moment, is being kind to yourself. But I've had a couple of days to kind of dive in and kind of think of a good way to kind of approach this type of journey, especially if you're dealing with an eating disorder in general. And I had to write a couple of things down like I normally do. Otherwise, I'm just going to go off in tangents that no one's really going to want to listen to. I don't want to listen to them half the time myself, and they're stuck inside my head. But when it comes to weight loss, when it comes to bettering yourself as an individual, there are two things that are very, very important. The first one is self-control, and the second one is discipline. So self-control is quite self-explanatory. And as someone who is a binge eater and who deals with a sugar addiction, it's a lot harder than it sounds, because a lot of the behaviors that binge eaters have, it's kind of on a subconscious level. It's muscle memory almost, where these patterns that we engage in are so commonplace to us that we do it without really thinking. And, like a good example for me is, back a couple of months ago. So, for example, is I have my water right here, which is generally what I'm going after, and it has a watermelon salt in it, and so I'm really geared to drink that. But I also have this on my desk, and it's been sitting here for a couple of days. And self-control in this thing is that you can have the water, and then there's the Coke. Someone who has a lot of self-control is going to go for the water instead of the soda. But someone who might be having a harder time with the self-control, such as someone who is a binge eater or who has a sugar addiction, are going to go for the soda instead of the water. For me, I'm starting to move for going for the water instead of the soda. And a big part of that for me is continuously just making sure I do have my watermelon salt inside of it, because there is that sweetness to it that kind of triggers kind of like a reward sensation inside of my head, which I am very taste orientated. So if something doesn't taste good, if it doesn't smell good, I'm generally not going to go for it. The watermelon salt, as far as I'm aware, well, it has a little bit of a scent to it, but not a big one. But it smells nice. It smells pleasant. Easy for me to go to. And so, like, for me, the self-control that I am trying to enforce here is to continuously, have this little thing sitting in the corner of my desk or sitting right in front of my computer, and to just keep reaching for the water over the soda, just like over and over and over again. On the occasion where I do end up grabbing the soda instead, there's the awareness that I need to be kind with myself, and then just make sure that the next time around I reach for the water instead. And so a lot of it is making sure that I have the water closer so it's easier to reach than the soda, where I have to kind of like reach further to grab that. And so that really definitely works on the self-control, and even on the discipline, is that you have to keep at it. You have to, if you do something wrong, you have to acknowledge the fact that you've done it wrong, and that you've done something that is bad for you, that's bad for your health, that's bad for your body, and then make conscious steps to correct that behavior. So that is super, super important to moving from a bad lifestyle into one that is better. And, another thing that comes to this approach and everything, and one of the other things that I am trying to do, it's a behavior of a sort. It's a behavior, is that I need to trust the process. That even though, I lost 20 pounds and then I gained it all back after I went on a downward spiral of depression, I am still having the cleared skin, the clear mind. And, my hair isn't really falling out in chunks like it was last year. And joint pain's going away, the fatigue's slowly going away, though I do have periods where I just kind of crash and then sleep all day. And part of that's probably my body is trying to clean out a lot of the things that are in it. Well, also, at the same time, it's probably a direct reflection of the fact that I'm no longer a teenager who can stay up for several days without stopping. And so I need to trust the process, trust myself, in my body that, you know, even though I am dealing with a binge eating disorder and a sugar addiction, I need to trust that I can get over that. And that's kind of a hard part, really, because for so long I haven't trusted myself. And so trying to just continuously ensure that I am trusting myself is actually making quite a bit of improvement there. And then the last two things that it comes to dealing with whatever is going on when you're trying to overcome hardships, when you're trying to make positive changes in your life, is patience and perseverance. So being patient is very self-explanatory as well. It's just much like self-control. But knowing that this isn't going to take a day or even a week or even a month to get through, that this is going to be a very long process. And, you know, and part of it goes into trusting the process. It's going to take a while. It's not going to be an overnight thing. Be patient. Do the studies. Figure out different ways that you can make things easier for yourself as you're going along. And then perseverance, which is kind of like my favorite. And I honestly think this should probably be like one of the higher ones. But this, like the perseverance and the patience kind of comes into the mind aspect. And the perseverance is the diligence, essentially, the drive to do better day by day. And that even though when you are falling off the wagon, you are getting back up, you're dusting yourself off, and you're getting back on the wagon. And you can fall one time, you can fall 10 times, you can fall 100 times, but you're still persevering because you know where you're at now is not where you need to be. That there's like this goal in the distance. And, you know, that's a big part too, is that if you are struggling with a binge eating disorder, if you are struggling with a sugar addiction, acknowledging the fact that that is a problem, but also keeping in mind what you are striving for is so very important to getting through. And so, you know, those are just a couple little things that I am starting to implement. And I keep this like right next to, I have like a little paper that has like the little 5 things that I'm working on. And I'll probably paint something later that'll have those and bigger things where I can just hang it up on the wall and it's just there. It's just like in my face. Works easier for me that way. But for the rest of you, if you are still here, just leave a comment down below, like different things, like different mindsets that you might be adopting if you are struggling with the diet or with like weight loss or anything else. Like, what are some ways that you make it easier for yourself to get through it when you are having a hard time or it feels like quitting would be easier than staying on board? So if you've liked the video, please give it a like, subscribe. I plan to try to do maybe 1 or 2 videos a week. Just kind of depends on what's going on. And I will be seeing all of you in the next video.